You didn't stumble upon this video by pure chance. A part of your soul felt its call long before your eyes met it. There is something that grates even when everything seems normal. Perhaps in these last few days, you woke up with an indefinable restlessness, as if a silent echo was trying to reach you without yet fully revealing itself. This is the signal. There is a dimension in which nothing is out of place, but it does not grant itself to those who are still immersed in the din of doing, in the continuous rush of rational understanding. It opens up only when you embrace silence, when you stop the movement, when you allow yourself to feel. What if what you have always considered a mistake was actually the exact gateway to that dimension? Thoth spoke about it in ancient times, but he never did it with a linear language. He communicated through symbols, vibrations, hidden codes. Because this reality is not crossed with logic but through presence. And if something in you moved by hearing these words, then you are closer than you imagine. Now pay attention. That dimension is not found elsewhere. It is here, and you have the divine power to cross its threshold. But are you willing to recognize that what you have always called problem was only the hidden design of a superior intelligence? If right now you feel a thrill, a lump in your throat, a whisper that says, "This message is for me," then stop everything and leave a like right away. Because that simple gesture is not directed at me. It is your first conscious step. It is the way the universe registers. Yes, I understand. Now I am ready. And from this very moment, everything will begin to change. I know it, and inside you. And you feel it too. So, what are you waiting for to let me know that you are here? Reality fails only in the eyes of those who judge the present. For the initiated, even chaos is instruction, and silence is the voice of the divine. You may not realize it now, but a subtle mechanism operates within you every day, an inner movement that continually tries to distance you from your essence. You think you are tired of life, but look deeper. Maybe you are just tired of maintaining the illusion you have created to avoid facing your most intimate truth. Running away from yourself is not dramatic. It is silent, almost invisible. It hides in the distractions you repeat every day. It is in the endless scrolling of social media, in the superficial conversations, in the commitments you accept just so you don't have to stop. It is in the constant attempt to fill the void with anything that distracts you from the present. This escape is so common that many don't even realize they are living in it, but there is a price to pay, and the price is high. Every time you disconnect from yourself, you fragment, your energy disperses. You feel like you are in many places at once, but you are not fully present in any of them. Your mind races to the future, trying to predict what will happen. Your memory cries out from the past, bringing guilt, regret, or nostalgia. And the present is silent. It fades away. It becomes unbearable. That is why many fear silence, because silence cannot be controlled. It reveals. And when you turn off the outside noise, you begin to hear what is inside. But not everyone is ready, because inside lives a powerful force, an indomitable power, something you cannot control with the rules of the rational mind, something that challenges you to remember who you really are. Have you noticed how easy it is to get distracted, how easy it is to fill your mind with little tasks, commitments, goals, entertainment, anything to keep you going? Stop and feel, stop and observe, stop and listen to what is being asked of you. Not from the world, but from your soul. This escape has become so normal that simply being present with yourself feels uncomfortable. You try to avoid it like you would avoid pain, but what you avoid is not pain. It is depth, it is power, it is clarity, it is reconnection. That is why you feel like something is missing, even when you have it all. That is why life seems to slip through your fingers, even when it is working, because something inside you knows you are not fully where you are. And until you come back to yourself, nothing you build outside can fill what has been forgotten inside. But what are you trying to avoid inside? Perhaps it is the awareness that almost everything you call problem was born when you began to believe that time was real. Not natural time, the time that regulates sunrise and sunset, but mental time, the time you created inside yourself to control the uncontrollable. This psychological time is the first veil that distanced you from presence. And it is also the origin of the idea that things have gone wrong. Yes, time as you know it is not neutral. It is a belief system, an invisible construct that you constantly use to keep moving, but moving without roots. And it is within this mental time that guilt lives. It is where you compare yourself, fall behind, rush ahead. It is where you always feel indebted for what you have not done or anxious about what has not yet happened. The ancients knew this. Thoth called time the measure of oblivion, because it is through time that you move away from the now. And when you move away from the now, you begin to invent versions of yourself that need to be repaired, healed, or perfected. The past becomes a ghost, the future an obsession, and the present, the only place you can truly exist, becomes unbearable. Watch your mind for a moment. Where is it now? It's probably racing backward or forward, remembering what you didn't say, what you didn't do, what you should have done, or projecting, will it be okay? What if it doesn't? When will it come? This restlessness seems natural, but it is a vibrational prison because the more you live between the before and the after, the less energy you have to create the present. And the present is the only true point of manifestation. Time, in this sense, becomes an entity that presses you. It makes you believe you are late, that you have missed opportunities, that you are always in a rush. And even when everything is going well, it whispers to you that maybe it won't last, that something could go wrong. Do you feel it? As if there were always something more that hasn't arrived yet. It's not intuition, it's the time you feed to avoid the depth of the present. Spiritual alchemy teaches that time is not the enemy, but must be transcended. It's not solid, it's vibrational. It responds to your inner state. When you're present, it bends, it slows down. Days feel fuller, decisions flow, you notice the signs. But when you're fragmented, time turns into haste, delay, urgency, and everything seems difficult. It's not that things went wrong, it's that you left the present. And every time you leave the present, what happens loses its meaning because the meaning of things is not in the events. It's in the state of consciousness you are in when they happen. The same event can be a trauma or a revelation, depending on your presence at the moment it happens. This is what the masters meant by governing time, not with a clock, but with the vibrational state. That is why some people can do so much in silence, while others, even with incessant action, feel empty. Time begins to sabotage you when you turn it into an absolute reference. When you say, it wasn't the right time, maybe in the future, someday I'll get there. You project forward something that can only be experienced now. The desire you feel is not in the future. It is calling you to return to the present moment with full awareness, because that is where it can be born. Everything you want to experience is already happening, but outside of your attention, you don't notice it. And here's the tricky part. Mental time creates the idea of error, because it makes you believe you are out of place, out of time, out of flow, when in reality everything is happening exactly as it should for you to awaken. Error does not exist in present consciousness. It only exists when you judge yourself based on an illusory timeline. But the universe doesn't measure your evolution with a calendar, it senses your frequency. So maybe the question is no longer where should I be, but why do I keep insisting on living in a place that exists only in my mind? The dimension where nothing goes wrong and the portal is in the present. That's when we start to glimpse a different space, a place where that constant anxiety of being late simply disappears. A vibrational reality where time does not press, fear does not control, and judgment does not paralyze. There is a dimension that can only be accessed when you disarm the defenses of the mind and immerse yourself completely in the now. And it is not out there. It is here. It always has been. But you can only see it when you stop trying to fix the world with the tools of control. This dimension is not an illusory promise that everything will be easy, comfortable, or predictable. It doesn't erase the pain, it dissolves the chaos, and that changes everything. Because what drains us is not the pain itself, but the constant effort to resist it. What breaks us is not what happens, but how much we believe it shouldn't happen. That's the deception. What we call a mistake is often just a success we haven't yet understood, a hidden reorganization, a revelation disguised as failure. In the dimension where nothing goes wrong, everything has a place, everything has a rhythm. Even what seems out of sync fits because there you are not trying to escape from anything. You are present, and presence has such a powerful force that it transforms even what seemed meaningless into a silent purpose. In that space, you don't pretend that things make sense immediately. You observe, you welcome, you surrender to the flow with the trust that everything is exactly as it should be, even if your mind cannot comprehend it now. Perhaps this is the most profound difference between living in mental time and accessing this dimension. In time, you force. In this dimension, you allow. In time, you calculate. In this dimension, you feel. In time, you judge. In this dimension, you contemplate. Life doesn't have to follow the script you imagine to be in order. True order is not external. It is energetic. It is the frequency of your state of acceptance. Thoth didn't say it in those exact words. He taught in symbols, in the hidden lines of the emerald tablet. He spoke of as above, so below, as a reflection of the cosmic order that manifests in matter when consciousness is aligned with inner truth. This is exactly what this dimension means, a vibrational reflection between what you are internally and what manifests before your eyes. When there is coherence between the two, reality stops resisting and begins to respond. But this dimension does not accept haste. It is not compatible with anxiety. To enter it, you must silence the internal noise that wants immediate answers. You have to abandon the logic that wants to control everything. You have to step out of time and into presence. Presence is the portal, and that portal does not open with formulas, techniques, or promises. It opens with surrender. But be careful, surrender is not giving up. It is trust. It is stopping fighting against what is. It is realizing that everything in front of you right now is part of an invisible orchestra playing a perfect melody. Even when you don't understand the music, when you align yourself with that sound, you no longer need to shout, you start listening. And listening in that state is understanding with the heart what the mind can never explain. It's not theory, it's experience. And maybe you've already felt it without knowing how to name it. A sudden moment of peace in the chaos. A moment when everything seemed confusing, and suddenly you felt like you didn't have to understand. Just be there. A second when your breathing calmed, your thoughts melted, and a feeling of everything is okay enveloped you. That's what this dimension tastes like, and if you've ever felt it, it's alive inside you. What keeps you out is the habit of controlling the flow, of forcing the next moment before completing the current one, of wanting certainty where life offers only presence. But the good news is that this habit is not your nature, it is learned. And what is learned can be unlearned at any time, even now. Perhaps the greatest secret of this dimension is this: it is already happening. You are not quite there yet, it is already happening. But to fully access it, you must remember who you are. And that is exactly what Thoth warned us, not with ready answers, but with symbols that reveal themselves only to those willing to see beyond the surface. He did not shout, he coded. And for those with eyes that do not judge, every veiled word is a key, a silent invitation to cross the veil that separates the world of illusion from the living reality of awakened consciousness. In the Emerald Tablet, he explained nothing. He left layers, and there in what seems mysterious, he wrote with the precision of one who knows that true knowledge is not handed over, it is activated. Time is the creator of illusion. The present is the domain of the gods. There is a world in that tiny phrase. It is not about chronology, it is about frequency. It indicates the same vibrational dimension of order that you felt, if only for a moment, when you were truly present. but Thoth knew that not all would understand. Not out of arrogance, but out of principle, because sacred knowledge cannot be accessible to a mind still stuck in duality, and duality is supported by judgment, by comparison, by fear. As long as you continue to divide your life into what was good and what was bad, between what should have happened and what did not happen, you are trapped behind the veil. And that veil distorts everything. It turns teachings into theories, codes into confusion, and worse, it turns the present into a threat. Thoth taught that reality is energy and order, but to see that order, you have to step out of the conditioned, victim-centric view, stop asking why me, and start asking what is being revealed to me here that I haven't seen yet. Because everything you call an obstacle could actually be a portal, but a portal opens only for those who look with awareness. And what does it mean to look with awareness? It means to see without labeling, to see without immediately trying to interpret, to feel the moment as it is, without rushing it to an end. The ancients called this the vision of the heart, because only the heart can see the truth without distorting it. The mind wants to understand, the heart wants to reveal, and that is why Thoth never explained things with logic, he pointed inward. The emerald tablet, which many try to decipher with their intellect, is actually a vibrational structure. It is a living language that aligns only with those who abandon the need for control. That is why he said, "You will separate the subtle from the dense with great intelligence." That separation is not rational, it is alchemical, it is internal. It is when you begin to realize that the reality you see is actually a reflection of the vibration you live in. That is why the knowledge Thoth left was not meant for everyone, not because he wanted to exclude, but because he knew that many would not want to leave their history behind yet. Because to cross the veil of duality, you have to give up the role of the character and return to the consciousness of the author. And that takes courage. It takes detachment. It takes letting go of even the idea of what it means to know. And here lies the subtlest yet most powerful point. Only those who stop judging can begin to see the truth. Your divine power is asleep and awakens only in the present. And when you really begin to see, you discover something even deeper. The strength you were always looking for outside is asleep inside you. But it is not dormant out of weakness. It is just waiting for a moment of total presence to awaken. Because the divine that lives in you does not respond to anxiety. It doesn't move in a hurry. It doesn't vibrate in anticipation. It only emerges when you are fully here, now. You carry within you a spark that shapes reality. It's not a metaphor. It's a vibrational structure. But that spark only activates when you are aware. Aware not just of what you think or feel, but of what you are vibrating. Because everything that exists responds to your vibration even before it responds to your words. And that vibration only happens in the now, the moment you become a living presence, when your mind is no longer busy trying to predict the future or heal the past. The more you wait, procrastinate, or plan, the more you transfer your energy to time. And time, as you have already seen, is an illusion that fragments. It never gives you anything, because it exists only as a mental projection. When you live in time, you distance yourself from yourself. And when you distance yourself, the spark falls asleep. You begin to live with desires that drag on, promises that repeat themselves, goals that never arrive. All because you abandon the present, the only place where power operates. Power does not reside in what you intensely desire. It resides in the frequency you are emitting, in this moment. And that is why so many manifestations fail. It is not lack of merit, it is lack of presence. You desire something, but you vibrate scarcity. You affirm something, but inside you doubt. You ask the universe, but you vibrate urgency. And the universe, which responds to what you are and not to what you say, gives you back exactly what you put out. But there is a subtle secret here, a secret that Thoth has encoded between the lines, and that the great masters have only hinted at with a glance. You are already what you seek to become. But your mind has not accepted it yet. Your vibration has not allowed it, because you have been conditioned to think that you will have value only after you have achieved, after you have improved, after you have changed. But true awakening is not an after, it is a remembering, a return to the original frequency, the vibration of oneness. When you live in that frequency, things no longer need to be forced. You do not manifest through willpower. You manifest through coherence, through harmony between what you feel, think, do, and emit. And that coherence exists only in the present, because only here can you be whole. In the now, you do not have to play a role. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to resist. You just are. And that pure state of being is the portal to your power. What keeps you from feeling that power is not the absence of it. It's the excess of distraction, of doubt, of thoughts that push you away. It's the dependence on an idealized future to justify what you already feel is real. But the future will never give you what you refuse to feel now. No goal will fill the void of a denied presence. No achievement will show you what you already are. Because what you seek deep down is not outside, it is vibrating right now, but you have to stop to feel it. What if everything you think and miss is not another goal, but a state of permission? The ancient masters did not seek to dominate time. They transcended it, fully inhabiting the present, and in that state of total presence, time stopped being a line and became a circle. It stopped being pressure and became rhythm. For one who is whole in the moment has no need to repair the past or rush the future. Everything that lives falls into place naturally because everything vibrates around those who are aligned. So what is it like to live this way? Without anxiety, without haste, without guilt. What is it like to live in that space where everything falls into place even without control? Presence is the alchemical key, the silent portal to perfect reality. Living with total presence does not simply mean paying attention to something, but to fully occupy the now with all that you are. To be truly present is to be whole, vibrating with your body, mind, and soul, attuned to the same frequency, creating an invisible but very real magnetic force that changes the way reality responds to you. Presence is not just a state of mind, it is an energetic frequency, a vibrational signature that emanates coherence, clarity, and truth. When you are present, the universe recognizes it as stability, and everything that is out of order begins to reorganize around you, not because you control it, but because you are maintaining a stable, silent, and powerful vibration. A vibration that does not beg, does not demand, does not seek. It simply is. And it is in that state that true manifestation occurs. Real manifestation, that which comes from the spirit and not the ego, requires no effort. It requires presence, for it is only in presence that you access the present as a portal, an entry point into a reality where what seemed like a problem reveals itself as a process, where what seemed like a mistake shows itself as a purpose, where even silence speaks. This is the turning point that the ancient alchemists sought. Not the transformation of raw matter into physical gold, but the transmutation of the unconscious being into living presence. Now imagine, what if you lived a whole day 100% present, without oscillating between memories and worries, without distracting yourself with 1,000 internal voices, simply inhabiting the moment with intensity, feeling every step, every breath, every interaction, every silence? Do you realize how almost impossible that seems at the speed at which we live, but also how transformative it would be? In that state, you no longer disconnect from yourself. You no longer leave your energy at the mercy of what is outside. You ground yourself. You align yourself. You remember. Because deep down, you have already been there like this, perhaps for a moment of ecstasy, of deep pain, or of inexplicable gratitude. A moment in which time stopped and everything seemed to make sense. That moment was you in your purest frequency. And if it was possible for a moment, it can be possible again. But what if it were more than possible? What if that was actually the true natural state of your soul? This is where it all starts to make sense. For what Thoth called the hidden power in man was never an extraordinary gift reserved for the few, but a forgotten ability lost in haste, in distraction, in the constant effort to adapt to the outside world. True power does not reside outside, nor does it manifest itself in clamor. It is silent, intimate, and has its roots in the most sacred place there is, consciousness. Consciousness is the true altar, not a stone altar, not a physical space to visit, but a living field that you yourself embody. It is there that the universe recognizes you, not to respond to your words, but to your deep vibration. The total presence of your attention, your intention, and your truth generates a frequency so crystalline that it reorganizes the entire universe around your state of being. When you stabilize in that inner condition, there is no need to convince anything. There is no need to attract. You become. And in becoming, reality manifests, not as a consequence of desire, but as a natural revelation of what was already yours in the beginning, in a state of absolute coherence. Consciousness does not plead. It radiates, and what it radiates, it creates. And whatever you radiate with clarity, integrity, and authenticity finds its way. There is no struggle required. There is no need to force. Reality responds to the silent sound of your coherent frequency. For in the vibrational realm, the most powerful sound is not the audible one, but the presence rooted in authentic being. You don't generate reality through the rational mind. You generate it through an awakened mind, a conscious feeling. And that feeling can only emerge when you stop trying to correct what is outside and start balancing what is inside. The altar is inside. Manifestation is a reflection. What you call a miracle in the lives of some is not privilege, but vibrational coherence. It is the result of a soul that has become a clear channel, that has stopped resisting, that has stopped judging, that has chosen to remain whole in its essence. And it is at this point that a deeper understanding opens up. Perhaps the mistake never existed. Perhaps what you interpreted as failure, delay, or loss was nothing but an absence of presence, a temporary disconnection from your inner altar. But even when you were lost, consciousness never abandoned you. It waited, silent, patient, knowing that your return was only a matter of time. What you perceived as absence was preparation. What you believed to be empty was space left for the new to emerge, for the essential to make its way. And now what remains is no longer seeking, it is choosing, dwelling, holding the new vibration as your foundation, as your sacred center, as your source. For now you know that the universe never stood in your way. It was just waiting for you to remember that who you are is already enough to hold every form. And when you stop judging, when you stop resisting, when you stop trying to prove, the world around you changes because your frequency has changed, because your state of being is finally in harmony with what is. The question now is not whether this dimension is real. It is alive, it is active. The real question is, are you willing to stay there? If you have come this far, it is because something inside you has resonated. So if even for a moment this message has touched an authentic part of you, leave a like, write, "I live the truth," in the comments, and subscribe. Not because I want it, but because I know that those who vibrate on this frequency will return. And when they return, they will find new portals for themselves. For those who know that truth is not sought, it is reactivated. Until the next vibration, stay here, stay awake, stay whole. And above all, stay. May each of your breaths be a conscious return home. See you soon. We will meet again at the next portal.